I knew I had a full-time call in my life probably when I was 13. It was actually at a church camp. And then on the last day, the speaker gave a call for people who wanted to serve God full-time. And there were 2 of us who went up for that altar call. Out of probably 300-400 people at the church camp. I really knew God called me from then into full-time ministry. I was a young boy, 14, 15, grew up watching war movies. And so going to this situation where it's a civil war in Burma, there are all these refugees coming out from Burma, helping out the humanitarian aid side, ministering at the Bible school, playing with the kids, hearing their stories. It was all very, very exciting to me for the first probably couple of years that we went there. And initially, whenever I came back to Singapore, I was almost angry at my friends for wasting all this money on, I don't know, back in the day it was $300 Guess jeans, while $10 could feed a family for a month in Thailand. And I thought, how could Christians do this? But then I realized that it wasn't really their fault because they hadn't seen what I'd seen. So I couldn't fault them for not knowing what I know. That was when I started trying to bring my friends, bring people from church mostly, across on these trips to see what I've seen, and so that God can do something in their hearts the way He's done something in mine.
And that was, I would say, my real mission exposure. We stayed with the people, we ate with them, we really saw the conditions they were living in, and it really touched my heart and opened my eyes to what God was doing in the rest of the world. But I remember when we went back to Bangkok, I really felt that Bangkok was very oppressive. I didn't like Bangkok at all. And I remember telling God, this would be the last place I want to come back to, but knowing you, you would bring me back again. When Kevin actually made the decision that it's time for us to uproot from New Zealand and leave, Caitlin was only 1 at a time, and I had grown quite comfortable in New Zealand, and with friends and knowing how things work, and just the idea of having to uproot at that stage was actually quite terrifying. But then you can't escape God's call.
Christianity has been in Thailand for almost 200 years, but Isaan is still 0.1% Christian. 90% of the cities, towns, villages don't even have one church in them, which means the traditional style of doing mission obviously hasn't worked. So let's not do things the way everybody else has done it before. Let's do something different. So how do we facilitate, how do we help planting of churches? So that was a question that we asked the local pastors. Is it financial sustainability and natural connections with the community? And so business, which provides those 2 things, can help a church, can help churches to get planted. And then the question is, what sort of business? Cafe provides a great venue, place for people to hang out, chat. Language centers are something which we found that the Thai community needs. People want to learn to speak English with ASEAN economic community coming in. The business as mission tries to add that component in where we've got to make money, we've got to be good for society and be seen to be good for society. And also we need to have spiritual outcomes. So people need to see that we're good for society, and like that verse says, where people see your good works and praise your Father in heaven. So it's reaching that extra step, which makes it all the more complex.
through the friendships that we've built, they begin to trust us, they begin to know us. One of my students, she is a Thai woman married to an Australian man. She speaks fluent English, but she came in to study Chinese. At the start of this year, she invited us to go to her sister's wedding. And during the wedding, she actually asked me if I could say a word of blessing over her sister and her sister's husband. And I think that was really a precious moment, a glimpse into the potential that these sort of friendships can give. So I spoke over her, just something really simple. I spoke over her Numbers 6, where the Lord bless you and keep you. So it's a blessing from the Bible, and I told them it's from the Bible. I told them that I'm a Christian. But just hoping that little seeds like that get sown in their hearts, and in time it will sprout.
Serving mission is not necessarily about physical hardship. For me, the hardest thing about being here is not being on the Thai-Burma border with the Karen people. Because in a way my heart's there, but I feel like God's called us here. But I sometimes question God's calling, and a lot of the time I question how God wants to carry out His calling. But I think there's a level of faith where you trust that God will come through. But currently I'm learning another level of faith where even when God seemingly doesn't come through, we still trust Him. Humility needs to kick in and realize that we're not the be-all and end-all. We're not the bee's knees. God is. It's not our story, it's God's story. And it's our privilege to play a part in it.
In a place where there aren't many churches, or none, or where there aren't any at all, people don't have access to the gospel. They can't even hear about God even if they wanted to. They can't even hear about Jesus even if they wanted to. And all God needs is a signpost to Him. We don't have to be super qualified, super eloquent to be able to come here and serve the Lord. All He wants is a signpost to Him.
Are there other things I could be doing? Probably. God built me for this. God made me for this purpose. A lot of people end up later in life realizing that they didn't know what they wanted at the start. And if they just followed the life that God has for them, they might have ended up quite a different place, and a place that God built them for in the first place. I serve in mission because I knew God better, but I also know God better because I've served in mission.